Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with me through that break. If you're just tuning in, it's been a crazy day so far. Our entire show today is dedicated to NFL craziness that has been going on in the last not even 24 hours. It's been about 15 hours of craziness. So much has been going on. We'll do updates. We just finished talking about the big quarterback stories. We talked about Russell Wilson to the Steelers. We talked about Kirk Cousins to the Falcons. We talked about Baker Mayfield staying in Tampa, and we mentioned a little bit about Justin Fields, where he might go, and we talked about Gardner Minshew, who was throwing another wrench into that plan, going to the Raiders. So there's a lot going on with the quarterbacks. If you are curious, go back and check that out. But in this second segment, we are going to talk about the defensive tackles. The defensive tackles have been a really interesting part of this offseason so far. Obviously, Chris Jones, Christian Wilkins, Justin Madubuike, they headline that group that are getting paid handsomely. So we're going to go over some of these moves, where they've gone, and that good stuff. But before we do, remember that if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Again, that link is gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation. Your message will pop up at the bottom of the screen there. Stay up there for just a minute. We'll have a little conversation about what you had to say and your opinions. We really appreciate it. Again, this is a big NFL show. So much is going on. I'd love to hear your thoughts on a lot of this. I know people's favorite teams are adding huge people or losing huge amounts of people. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about this first day of the tampering period. This is the first day. It's going to be crazy from here on out. This week is going to be a lot of fun. But like I was saying, we are going to talk about the defensive tackle position. The defensive tackle position, headlined by Chris Jones signing a new league record contract, $95 million guaranteed. I believe the contract is over $150 million. Chris Jones is the centerpiece of that Chiefs defense. He is a huge reason why the Chiefs were able to make the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. Without Chris Jones, I don't think they make that run. Without Chris Jones, I don't think they win that Super Bowl. I think there was that one play in the Super Bowl where the 49ers, in overtime, I believe, where Brock Purdy missed a wide-open player for a touchdown. That's all because Chris Jones was there applying pressure. Chris Jones is a game changer. He's a game wrecker. He is one of the best defensive players in the league. He gets paid handsomely for it. The Chiefs played one game without him this season. They lost to the Lions. The Lions are not a bad team. But I do think that the Chiefs would have won that game if they had Chris Jones there. So Chris Jones signs a record-breaking contract. And then the rest of the position isn't doing too bad themselves. Justin Madubuike on the Ravens, who really came out of nowhere last season. He led the team in sacks. 13 and a half sacks, was the most sacks since like 2015 for the Ravens. He got franchise tagged and then signed a 4-year, $98 million deal. Justin Madubuike is, again, I can keep saying these same things for all of these guys. Game wrecker. He was the main. He's a big body. Plant him in the run game. Tough to get around him. He went on a streak for about 6 or 7 games. I don't remember exactly what it was, where he got a sack in every single game. He was constantly getting pressure up the gut, and he was making it look easy against some of the best in the league. It's big season for these defensive tackles. You know, last cycle, we saw Dexter Lawrence and Daron Payne get paid massive at the position. And now we're seeing it again, this time. Again, Chris Jones, Justin Madubuike, and now Christian Wilkins. His deal was signed today. He goes to the Raiders, leaves Miami after Miami did not franchise tag him. His market was going to be big. He got an $110 million deal. We are breaking the we're into 9-digit contracts right now. Crazy, crazy. Uh, he joins a Raiders front that already has All-Pro rusher Max Crosby, a Raiders team that is not that struggled a little bit last year in the run game defensively. They didn't have the greatest defense. Their pass game wasn't great either, but adding a guy like Christian Wilkins is going to be huge for that defense. Again, we talk about a big body eating up people in the run game, taking up blockers, even if he doesn't get pressure. You have Max Crosby forcing a double team. You have Christian Wilkins on the inside, who, if you just have one guy, is going to bull him back into the quarterback. That pass rush duo is going to be nasty next year. It's very, very exciting when two guys in their prime at those positions come together. It's awesome to see. The defensive tackle position is booming right now, as it should be. The defensive tackle is the center stone of your defense, Running the ball has kind of been a little phased out. Running backs are less and less important, but they still have to stop the run. The run sets up the pass, sets up play action, sets up these big plays. And having that big body, that elite defender on the inside, stuffing all the run gaps, still being able to get pressure on the quarterback, these defensive tackles nowadays are incredibly athletic. They are big, strong, tall, and some of the most athletic freaks of nature that you'll ever see. It's crazy how fast they are at their size and the amount of power they're able to generate at that position. The defensive tackle position is going off. But it's not just those top guys. You had Justin Jones sign a deal with the Arizona Cardinals, a team that was rumored to be in the mix for Christian Wilkins, a team that really needs pass rush defense bad. So adding a guy like Justin Jones in there is a huge pickup for them. There's a lot of news, a lot of it coming out today. There's stuff still breaking, corners, safeties, all these coming out. We're going to get more into that later in the week when we have time to collect our thoughts, because honestly my head is spinning trying to get all of these players out here. It's more of a reporting show today than anything. Speaking of some of those, we talked a lot about Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney signed a 4-year deal with the Green Bay Packers, $12.5 million a year. Big contract for a safety. The Packers did lose Darnell Savage to the Jaguars, who got paid $21 million over 3 years. Adding a guy like Xavier McKinney, I've talked about him a lot recently. I think he's one of the most underrated safeties in the league. People are going to start to see him on the Packers. He's going to be big on that defense. He's going to be out there. Again, that defense has been really, really solid lately. But the rest of it, the rest of the market. Oh my God. The rest of the market is continuing to pop off. We just now breaking as we speak. Linebackers. Former Panthers linebacker Frankie Louvu just signed a 3-year deal with the Commanders. The Commanders, who have a lot of cap space, have a lot of holes to fix on that defense. Bringing in a guy like Frankie Louvu, 3 years, $36 million, $12 million AAV. It's gonna be big for that defense. They already have Jamin Davis, who is that linebacker core is pretty solid. Adding Frankie Louvu in there will really help. It's really the corners that they need to get, safeties, secondary, and rebuild that defensive line, but they need help everywhere on defense. And again, more news continues to break. We'll get more into that on the other side, as it's on the offensive side of the ball. Excuse me. But thank you everybody for tuning in to the free agency show. It is going insane right now. Make sure you have your notifications on. In our next segment, we're going to switch back to the offensive side of the ball. We're going to focus on running backs, talk about some breaking news, tight end that just got signed. and some wide receiver news later on. Stick around. We'll be right back.